hello everyone in the diaspora world and also over there in Africa as well. Now, here at Ellie Naimel Talk Show, I'm just going to recap on some of the things here. First, I want to say thank you for all of you that have tuned in to listen to some of the stories we have been featuring. Our last story that we had here, I know was in Arabic, so for a lot of the people who don't speak Arabic or understands Arabic, it's very unfortunate that you did not get to hear the whole story. But if you have a family member or anyone that knows Arabic, have them translate it to you and tell you what's going on there. I know I myself was able to capture some of the things that he was saying, and not entirely it because I don't fully speak Arabic. But I have people that I work with that speaks Arabic and writes Arabic influently as well. But his story was very, very powerful. It's one of those rare stories you don't hear often from a lot of the news or journalists or in any other places. And the reason behind most of these is that the governments are very strict on what information goes out. So this young boy was very brave. It took a lot for him to come out and be able to tell his story. And we can only pray that, God will continue to give him tools and protections and all that he needs to continue to be an activist and a humanitarian as well. So after airing that story, it really took me to a whole different level of thinking, hearing these stories. To know what goes on in the other side of the world, sometimes when you accept that this world is not perfect and that there are people who go through the most beyond belief situation, it gives you the relief to know that, the world isn't perfect and we cannot condemn or judge others based on their lifestyle or what they go through. So it's a situation or stories that inspire you if you are going through something and know that it's very small and you can handle it and still be able to walk through life. But things that goes on in third world countries, genocide nations, desolate nations, those are things that are they're very hard to speak on. They're very hard to speak about. Another way of having patience to understand and listen to their story, because majority of the time they are seeking for those things. They are seeking for love. They are seeking for peace. They want to understand it. They want to know what it is, so that at some point, that a larger percentage of those nations or those people will be able to live in peace, will be able to recognize it. So our main stories, the reason why we want to cover them the most is to encourage everyone out there, and especially the youth in Africa as well. So to encourage the youth in Africa is to know that do not be afraid to raise your voice, because God is your ultimate protector, okay? And of course, you still have to be vigilant, be very smart when you are telling something that the government wants to keep silence from you. Is know who you're talking to, know who you're giving those information to. But when you come to a more larger publication situation to tell those stories, know your situation. If you are in an area where you know that, I could tell the stories. I don't have to talk about it in my community, but at least the story is out there. Then we can continue to create that awareness. Because majority of the people are going to watch it in their home. They're going to watch it in their own places where they are alone, okay? Especially even one of the example I'll give you in the Muslim countries, most Muslim countries, a Muslim is not allowed to have a Bible. They're not allowed to even read a Bible or get close to it. So, like Jesus said, this knowledge in this book is for your own good. It's for your own. And you don't have to tell anyone or let anyone know that, you are expanding your knowledge to a whole different thing to know who Christ is or who Jesus the Lord is. So those are some of the important things to acknowledge in mind, because the Bible says, even when you pray, okay, you go in your private room or in your private closet, wherever it is, your private area where it is just you and God. Nobody needs to know what you pray about. Nobody needs to know what conversation you had with God. Is between you and God. And so those are some of the encouragement I could say to the youth out there, is that if you happen to live in a nation where you can't express your voice or you can't talk about certain things that are going on in those countries, definitely keep your communication with God, keep your relationship with God a lot stronger, because that will continue to carry you on and carry you through as well. And even through that walk of life, there's still that transition where you will feel the presence to know that I can be strong, I can be courageous, I have no fear of man or what man will do with me, because God is the ultimate God and He is our only fear in this life. In all life. So, and for the youth here in the United States, it is an encouragement for them to know that we may complain about the little things in life, okay? We may complain about things that are so simple or can easily be fixed, okay? So the amount of things here probably may not measure to the amount of struggles compared to the African struggles, because those ones are far more beyond belief. But here is, find somebody to talk to. You never want to be alone. We live in a time, in a situation where we are isolated more. And one of the greatest mental challenge is disconnect. So we are in a time where we are disconnected, and we are disconnected from people who were our loved ones or that were there, people who we used to laugh and eat dinner with. Those situations, sometimes even within families, have been disconnected because of politics or because of, Corona or the fear of Corona and things like that. So my only encouragement to that is, do not be disconnected with your loved ones. There's always going to be those immediate family members that are always going to be there no matter what, just like marriage. So marriage, before you commit, is for better and for worse, okay? Until death do you guys apart. So it's how any relationship is. A relationship is a perfect bond. It's just similar. I'm just giving marriage as an example to it. But check on your parents and continue to follow the guidelines, the restrictions. If you're sick and you're sick, don't go visit anyone. If you don't trust your surrounding, wear your face mask at all times. But in my example of stories, I have a lot of things that I do in my daily life, so I can pretty much stay extremely busy on that, even if I don't see my friends and family for days and many days. Because I find joy in things that I love, things that I could be creative with. My mind is always creative, is always ongoing. So that itself alone is enough joy to get me going. And sometimes I don't even realize that I'm alone, So, if you're one of those people that is more social, that likes to be around people, be with those that are like-minded. There's going to be friends who feels the same way and say, you know what? Everybody has lost their faith because they are traumatized by the fear of COVID and all of the disconnection we went through. And they're going to come together, okay? Now, in this year of 2021, we're entering into the spring. And what does spring represent? Spring represents new growth, new development, blossom, new beginning. It's like the beginning season of brightness and colors. And, if you think in that aspect of what the nature is trying to teach us as human beings, take that as a new beginning. Things that you're fearful of in life, categorize them here. And things that makes you happy and brings you peace, categorize them here. And this tip in general, I will pretty much just brush everybody with it, including the youth in Africa and here in the United States, because this could work for all of us. So once you know the things that you fear of, you come up with plans in how are you going to execute them, so they don't get in the way of your happiness or the way of your success. And the things that makes your life, that brings joy and peace and happiness in your life, those are the things you want to keep pushing and continue to make it better, okay? Because they say one door opens leads to another door open and things like that. So that's one of my biggest encouragement messages that I would like to share with youth all over the world, Africa and the diaspora here in the United States as well. And I know lately I've been getting a lot of messages, and I've been asked, to keep doing this, to keep doing this. It's really starting to bring change. It's really helping out a lot of people, and I'm very happy to hear that. So, because whatever I present to you or that I do, my only biggest motivation to keep going is to know that it's helping the community. It's actually making change. So if we see that progress and I keep getting those messages, that's how I will know that, okay, this is worth doing. It's definitely worth doing. Because there are a lot of information we could share around the world, and to better our world, to rise up Africa, to build better Africa, especially with the youth and what they have gone through. And we're starting to work with some of the musicians who have amazing talents over there in Africa as well, whether it is music or they're going to school for medical or they're going to they're doing other things. Those are really good news. Those are really good news, and you want to keep pushing on those. Keep pushing on those. And I know I have been talking and mentoring. I started mentoring some youth right now in some of those talents in order to have a better road to success. And part of my mentorship is to how to pursue the things that you need to pursue in a corrupt nation. And I know with that, a lot of them needs a lot of support from the wealth or the people from the Western world. So with me being in the Western world, I decided that, my stimulus money, that I will use that to support mentoring these youth as well. So that's just some of the idea that I had come up with in how we could continue to rise up African youth. Because once they have someone who believes in them and actually helps them in those situations, they are more likely to have hope. It just brings up so much hope and joy in their life, and just seeing that brings joy in my life too as well, to know that at least I can help someone. So I'm very grateful for all of that. Again, thank you. And if anybody has any questions, or is there something going on in the African communities, whether it's here in the United States or in Africa, let us know. Let us know what I could talk about and what I could share with you guys. And some of those days, as we continue to get those requests, then we'll have an open live stream where people can actually ask questions while we're on live, and I can answer questions as much as possible. Have a wonderful week and stay safe and warm.